January 29, 1945, 2:47 p.m. Holzheim, Belgium. First Sergeant Leonard Funk steps around the corner of a farmhouse and stops cold. 90 German soldiers are staring straight at him. Half already have weapons in their hands. The rest are grabbing rifles from a pile on the ground. 4 American GIs are kneeling in the snow, hands locked behind their heads. These Germans were prisoners 20 minutes ago. 80 of them had been captured during the assault on the village, guarded by just 4 men because that was all Company C could spare. Now they're free, armed, and organizing an attack that will hit the Americans from behind. A German officer strides forward and jams an MP40 submachine gun into Funk's stomach. He screams something in German. Funk doesn't speak German. Neither do any of the Americans. The officer screams again. His face turns red. Veins stand out in his neck. Funk looks at the 90 Germans, looks at his 4 disarmed soldiers, looks down at the gun pressed into his gut, and then Leonard Funk starts laughing. The officer freezes. Then, furious, he screams again. Funk laughs harder. What happens next takes less than 60 seconds. 21 Germans will be dead. The rest will throw down their weapons and surrender. And Leonard Funk will earn the Medal of Honor for one of the most insane acts of combat in World War II. All because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was born August 27, 1916, in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania, steel town along the Monongahela River, 8 miles east of Pittsburgh. Smokestacks, foundries, hard work. He grew up fast. It took responsibility early. By the time he graduated high school in 1934, he'd already spent years caring for his younger brother. The Great Depression was still crushing the country. Jobs were rare. College was a dream for someone else. In June 1941, with war raging across Europe and Asia, Congress expanded the draft. Funk's number came up. He reported to the induction center in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania. He was 24 years old, 5'5", 140 pounds. The Army physical examiner probably saw him and thought, "Clerk, they were wrong." Funk volunteered for the paratroopers in 1941. American airborne forces barely existed. Jumping out of functioning airplanes to fight surrounded by the enemy sounded like suicide to most soldiers. The men who volunteered were different. Airborne training was designed to break you. 5 weeks of relentless running, climbing, jumping, falling, brutal conditioning that washed out half the candidates. Then the jump towers. Then the aircraft. The first time you step out of a C-47 at 1,200 feet, everything in your body screams to grab the door and hold on. The ground is far away. The wind tears at your face. Your parachute is just fabric, cord, and faith. Funk earned his jump wings. He was assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, Camp Blanding, Florida. In late 1943, the regiment shipped to England and joined the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-Americans, veterans of Sicily and Italy, men who had already jumped into combat, already killed, already buried friends. Funk was the new guy, 27 years old, doled by paratrooper standards. Most of his squad mates were barely 20. But Funk had something they didn't: steadiness, maturity, the quiet competence that makes men follow you into hell. By D-Day, he was a squad leader. Before the war was over, he'd be acting company executive officer. First, he had to survive Normandy. June 6, 1944, 1:30 a.m. The C-47 shudders as flak explodes around it. Funk stands in the stick, waiting to jump. 60 pounds of gear strapped to his body. Thompson submachine gun, ammo, grenades, rations, medical kit. The aircraft is at 400 feet. Too low for a safe jump. But the pilots can't climb. Tracer rounds streak through the darkness. Metal fragments ping off the fuselage. 13,000 paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne are dropping into occupied France. Nothing goes according to plan. The green light flashes. Funk jumps. The prop blast hits him like a truck. Then the chute opens, and the world goes silent. Enemy territory in every direction. The airborne assault is chaos from the first minute. The formations scatter across 50 miles. Men drown in flooded fields under the weight of their gear. Others land in German camps and die before they can cut themselves free. Funk hits the ground hard. His ankle twists, badly sprained, maybe broken. Every step will be agony for weeks. But he can walk. He can fight, so he moves 40 miles from his drop zone. Alone, in the dark, in German-held France. Within hours, lost paratroopers begin to find him. Different units, different regiments, 18 men in total, all looking for leadership. Funk gives it to them. For 10 days. He leads them through enemy territory, traveling by night, hiding by day, fighting when they must. Despite his injury, Funk insists on being the lead scout, taking the most dangerous position to protect his men. On June 17, they reach Allied lines. Every man survives 10 days, 40 miles, 0 casualties. Funk earns the Silver Star, a Bronze Star, and his first Purple Heart. He's just getting started. September 17, 1944, Holland. Operation Market Garden, the largest airborne assault in history. 30-5,000 paratroopers drop into the Netherlands to seize bridges across the Rhine. British, American, Polish forces jumping together. If it works, the Allies will be in Germany by Christmas. Everything goes wrong. British paratroopers land on top of SS Panzer divisions that weren't supposed to be there. 9 days of brutal fighting. Only 2,000 of 10,000 men escape. A bridge too far. Funk doesn't know the big picture. He knows his mission. Then he sees something that isn't supposed to be happening. 3. German 20mm anti-aircraft guns are firing into incoming Allied gliders. If those guns keep firing, hundreds of men will die before they hit the ground. The position is dug in. About 20 German soldiers. Funk has 3 men. Doctrine says you need a 3-to-1 advantage. Funk attacks anyway. They overrun the position, kill the defenders, silence all 3 guns. 20 Germans, 3 Americans. The gliders land safely. For that action, Funk earns the Distinguished Service Cross, second only to the Medal of Honor. Still not done. December 1944, the Ardennes. Hitler launches his last gamble. 3 armies, 400,000 men. The Battle of the Bulge. Then comes Normandy. December 17, 1944. 80 American prisoners are machine-gunned in a field after surrendering. Murdered. The rules of war die in the snow. When Funk hears about it, something hardens inside him. He decides he will never surrender. That decision will matter. January 29, 1945, Holzheim, Belgium. Company C is under. Their executive officer is dead. Funk is now acting XO. He gathers clerks, cooks, supply men, anyone available. You're infantry now, he tells them. They march 15 miles through waist-deep snow in a blizzard. Funk leads from the front. They take the village, clear house after house, capture 30 Germans. Another unit captures 50 more. 80 prisoners total. 4 men are left to guard them. Then everything goes wrong. A German patrol overruns the guards, frees the prisoners. 90 Germans arm themselves and prepare an ambush. Then Leonard Funk walks around the corner. The officer screams. Funk laughs, and while the officer is confused, while the moment stretches just long enough, Funk moves. He pretends to surrender. Then he doesn't. The Thompson roars. The officer dies instantly. Funk keeps firing, reloads, shouts for his men to grab weapons. Chaos. 60 seconds later, 21 Germans are dead. The rest surrender. Company C survives. September 5, 1945, the White House President Harry Truman places the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. I'd rather have this medal, Truman says, than be President of the United States. Funk goes home, gets a job with the Veterans Administration, helps other soldiers navigate paperwork and benefits. He never brags, never tells stories. When asked about Holzheim, he shrugs. Did what I had to do. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. dies November 20th, 1992. Buried at Arlington. Most people have never heard his name, but his story tells us something important. War doesn't favor the biggest, or the strongest, or the fearless. It favors the ones who keep thinking when everyone else has stopped, especially when there's a gun in your stomach and 90 men want you dead.